Hi there, Switchheads, and welcome to my review of Beasties, a Monster Trainer puzzle RPG. Oh no, I seem to be getting attacked by creatures from the grass. This seems to happen quite often to me. But where are they all coming from? The grass isn't even that long. And whilst we work out this seemingly TARDIS conundrum, why not subscribe to the channel for all my weekly reviews and sales videos, and giving this here video a like sure helps the channel grow. Beasties, engage.
Story.
With the disappearance of a Beastmaster, the big one, the Guild of Beastmasters sends you to an isolated village to find out what happened to the master. But not all is as it seems, and soon you learn a terrible secret. As stories go, it's not too bad, but it almost doesn't go anywhere, and at the end it's just not very fulfilling.
Controls.
As you would hope, the actual controls are pretty decent. Differently to normal this week, I've actually played this on PC with a Steam key and also using a key on my Nintendo Switch. Now, the games are pretty similar. I'm not going to really go into too much details, but I will point out key little moments that will define the differences. And I'll start with the movement. Moving around the world is handled the same and works well on both mouse and keyboard and controller. The actual battling system works better with, well, a mouse and keyboard due to the being able to move to the actual square you want to move to more easily. But still works okay, if not a little slower using controller. And yeah, shame no touchscreen though. Welcome to Controls, Battling and a bit of Movement 101. So on the actual Switch, use the thumbstick to move yourself around, up, down, left, right, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got things like you can use your axe. You can use your axe. There you go. Pop things up and then like pick them up and the like. And then you can look at the map and you look at the top left. You've got your inventory, feed things and buy things, sell things in the actual shops, and that's your actual inventory. And then you got the battling bit. Ooh, a handy battle. Looky here. Okay, so battling is as simple as you have all these different colors. These ones basically attack. That is if you do 4 or above, you can attack straight away. Basically, they're just for attacking. And then you get the different colors which represent your different like beasties attack. If you look onto the left, you can see green and pink, I think that is. And yeah, you just keep going until, well, basically you've won the battle. And then if you do this, you can also try and capture the creature as long as they're I've already got about 3 of them, but hey ho. And then you win the battle. As simple as that. Yay, I won stuff. Beasties is a mix-up of exploration, monster training and match 3 battles. Firstly, the easy bit. The match 3 battling is pretty decent, with your beasties each having their own power type, like electrical and the like. Each having a special power for it, and each gem or crystal on the board being able to power it up. Each of these gems counters 1 point if you like, and each of these powers need a certain amount of points to power them up to be used. And then, as I mentioned before, there's the straight up attack rune, which if you match up 3, 4 or whatever, depending on how much damage it does. This whole system works quite well, if not a little bit random, and sometimes you can go into a battle and have several attacks, one after the other, and like defeat whatever it is instantly. But then there's other times when you're like battling to a throw, and these are actually quite decent. And then there's a monster training. You can level up your beasties using dawn plates, putting up their attack, defense, hit points and ability. Although, due to an actual unforeseen problem with the game, I used this once and never needed it again, which kind of made it entirely useless to have in the game. The exploration side of it sees you moving around the world, talking to a few NPCs, doing a few tasks, buying and selling items in shops, and that all important healing your beasties here and there using the town healer. The buying and selling are all done in kind of a shop, as well as a shop to mend your pickaxe so that you can, well, collect materials in the main world. But once again, this kind of like just went nowhere, and apart from a couple of tasks needed to progress the story, and kind of felt useless being in the game as well. Exploring the outside world was okay with grass activating battles as per these games, and you kind of like get used to them. But when you get overpowered, you tend to skip most of the lower fights because you just don't want to be hassled, do you? Additionally, you can find chests, pickups, chop wood or mine materials, and there's even a place you can unlock for fast travel that seemed rather useless because I unlocked 2 of the 3 fast travels and hardly used them, never needed the last one at all. Okay, so by now you may notice a problem is rearing its head. Well, actually 2. First up, early on in the game, you have to defeat a group of beasties in order to progress to the next part of the map. I think you're actually meant to build a team and level them up, but I almost defeated them in my first attempt and went straight back and defeated them in my second attempt. At which point, the one strongest beastie joined my party and made my party way overpowered. Add to that to getting to the last area and catching another overpowered beastie, I could not be defeated. The second problem, after I think of about 3 hours of play, using the levelling system only once as I mentioned before, putting up 1 stat by 1 point, and once I've used the actual materials a couple of times, there was absolutely nothing I could find to use them for either. And then it was back to the town for a kind of showdown, which I easily defeated, and instead of getting some more game to play, I got this. I mean, seriously, WTF, I did nothing really taxing or anything like I was expecting to do. It just ended, then back to wandering around like you were stuck in some sort of really small, shitty matrix. And the plot of the game ends up being rather pointless, with lessons learned but feeling shallow as something really shallow. At this point I was heavily confused and thought I'd missed something, but I think had I not been given that beastie near the beginning and not been able to actually defeat him so easily, and probably had to level my characters up to get past that point, I think this would have been going a little bit different and also a little bit longer. But the game just unbalanced itself as soon as I unlocked that character, if you like.
Visuals and sound.
I have to admit, it looks pretty decent on both systems, with reflections in the water and the like, which was quite cool. The PC obviously had a lot more details to it, and this was very noticeable straight away in the grass as you explored all these areas. I also like the style with the kind of like tabletop pieces as you kind of bounced around these areas. The sound was again pretty decent, with a nice tune playing in the background and some nice sound effects. And again, I apologise for the lightning and all that's going on outside.
They're good.
It does look pretty decent and even better on the PC. I did enjoy the match 3 battling.
They're bad.
It's a shame none of the above levelling and NPC uses mattered in the end. Ended just as I started to really actually get into it, which was a shame. Balancing problems broke the game for me. I'd say way too easy to complete, and way too short for my liking, even more so from what genre it's actually attempting to pull from.
The score.
Had this game not suffered from the above problems that I think could be partly be fixed with a patch, then this would be scoring a much higher score. But it felt a little lazy and almost like it never even got played before release. I'm not sure what the actual idea behind giving you such an overpowered beastie from practically the start was, but it was a very bad idea. And as much as I actually really enjoyed the core mechanics of Beasties, I can't really recommend it. And as such, I'm forced to give it a 2 out of 5. And I was majorly let down. And while I had fun to start with, it soon spiraled downwards and then just ended. What a shame. And trust me, I always feel bad about giving low scores out, but then I feel bad if you purchased it and was disappointed as I am. And before we wander into Alternative Village, subscribe for more of these weekly reviews and also sales videos. And don't forget to like the video as it does help the video.
The alternative.
Next on Extinction. It's a Pokemon game that lends itself to the source material. In fact, it's so close to the actual material that it wants to emulate, it almost crosses a line. It's also a pretty decent game as well. Do you have an alternative or maybe some thoughts on Beasties? Then feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Wanting to continue the conversation? Well, I've got just the place for you all. The Switchheads Community Discord. Feel free to come for a chat if you wish. Hope to see you there and thanks for watching. Because life is better when we switch together.